My story on TikTok is not unlike many people's stories on TikTok, and so, like, when I created an account in July, so it started with one account, and I would just dance on it prior, and like I'd log in periodically, dance, log out, not come back. It was like, dances go viral. Okay, cool. That's not an adults. Adults, you gotta be talking to go viral. You gotta be saying something good to go viral, or you gotta be doing something extra awesome. Well, the first person I ever called out on TikTok was a little lady known as Our Exorcist, because what she's doing is heavily illegal. It's doxing, and legally it can be tried as stalking and harassment. So if you are antagonizing someone online through doxing and through following their profiles to post their personally identifiable information, which is not public record, which is different, which would be public information. A lot of people get this confused so badly that now the mainstream confusion is starting to apply to police officers. Police need to be trained on what public information is and what personally identifiable information is, and how the two things differ in a very large way. So, unfortunately, for people who want to dox people, personally identifiable information is off the table. If you want to dox someone, there has to be a few things in place. There has to be a public concern, there has to be a reason for the doxing being normally that public concern, or there has to be something that you have exclusive knowledge of that you're sharing to the public because it's in the public interest. This is, again, all ties back to that public concern. If you're not raising a public concern when you're doxing someone, you absolutely are wrong, and you're absolutely the villain of the story. You're not the hero here. If you think that because somebody is pro-Trump or pro-MAGA or pro-Republican that you get to dox them, unfortunately, if I felt the same way, I would dox a portion of Colorado then. Because if I believed that because this person has the difference in political beliefs from me, then that would mean that I'm okay to dox them. If I'm following your rules. Now, this is the rules set by people not in my fireside fam, not in my group of people. These are the rules as set by people outside of that group. Okay? So what that means is that people outside of my audience believe that doxing is just whatever they can find, whatever they want it to be, however they need to describe it so they're not the bad guy. Well, that's not the reality. The reality of the matter is that if you're the one doxing maliciously, so doxing has a piece about intent. Intent is where your actions will be judged. Oh, you doxed that person because they're a Republican. Well, that makes you a political terrorist. Oh, well, sorry, let's just be honest, a cyber terrorist. You doxed someone because you didn't like their life choice to not get a vaccine. That's cyber terrorism, it's politically motivated. Unfortunately, just because you don't like someone's life decisions, you don't get to dox them because you're putting their family in danger, their friends in danger, their loved ones in danger. And the fact that people on TikTok think that that's just a line that people are trying to sell them, that's the truth. One of my friends on TikTok had been in witness protection when she was doxed by somebody else on TikTok, not Our Exorcist, who is a major part of my story. We'll get back to that. When they were doxed by Our Exorcist, or not by Our Exorcist, sorry, by someone else. Someone else doxed this person who was tied to Our Exorcist fan base, and it put them, their family, in danger because they were in witness protection. The person that was doxed literally almost got killed because they got doxed. Now, getting back to where I met Our Exorcist. Me and Our Exorcist got into it because I was telling my audience about what doxing is. I had watched these creators. I had seen what they did. So I would watch their content. I wouldn't respond at first. I kind of waited. I waited till I had at least I think it was 5,000 people in my audience backing me. And we would tear them up. We would go in those comments and we would get them. We would fight back. We would fight in the fire with fire at that time. That was in July. Now, in July and August, they started going at other people, but far more aggressively. It was almost like retaliation to me testing them, to me pushing on them, to me saying anything. They were like, well, we're going to dox more people and you're powerless to stop it. I wasn't at all. I went to the FBI. I reached out to victims. Let me just tell you right now, Conservative Koi made the funniest Spawn joke I've ever heard. And I will never hear a funnier joke ever again. It's the end of story. Book's closed. Comedy gold is written. But he got doxxed for jokes about liberals. Like, okay, that's politically motivated. That's cyber terrorism. And localities and municipalities like in the states may not have the ability to do that. That's because it's the federal government's job to handle that. So if you've been maliciously doxxed, hacked, attacked online, my first tip for you, go to the FBI tip line. Go to the FBI tip line, give them the username, the full first, middle, last name, the location of the person, because chances are, if you got doxxed, you might have had a petty moment. I see it in the people. I see people being petty and fighting just to be petty. That's okay. No one's mad at you, love. Use that information legally. Your rights with information stop at finding the information. Like, I love how all these people on TikTok were able to falsify a record that I don't have because I'm black, but when I point out that they're racist for doing that they used a racial stereotype to attack a black man just because they failed at life and themselves have charges, that's a racial stereotype, that's racism. Also, I've noticed that when it comes to that particular racial stereotype, it's my white friends who are criminals that make those stereotypes. It's not my white friend who's straight shooting that makes those jokes. That's why my white friend who's a straight shooter is my white friend who's a straight shooter. He doesn't play those games, and he doesn't say those ugly racial things. It's like if you have a black friend and every time you meet that black friend, you have a better chance of getting arrested than I do. No, he really doesn't. And unfortunately, you'll probably get caught up for a crime before he does, especially if that's your logic. But with our exorcist, I called her out on her doxing when I got to about 5,000, 7,000. I had people having my back, basically. And a lot of them gave me a lot of good information about what was going on there. Well, my audience was in debate about what her name was, what her last name was. Was it Sparks? Was a mom? Was it Sparks? Was a mom? What was the last name of this micro celebrity? Well, I pulled it up on several celebrity websites, and I didn't want to put the person's info out there, but I was telling people, like, hey, no, it's a hyphenated last name. Both last names fit. At the same time, this lady gets on camera, and, like, we've already had our dispute and gone back and forth a few times, and she go, you don't get to tell people that. And then they reported my live when I showed people how to find RN numbers. So here's the thing. If you're going to say that you're a nurse of any kind, don't do it on TikTok where people now know how to find out all about you if you're a nurse. Because if you're a nurse, we know how to find your RN number. We know how to look you up now. Thank you, Just Gen 15, for teaching us all of that, too. But I genuinely got into it with her, and my audience was having a debate about what the last name was. So she eventually says her last name, and I'm like, guys, we got it. We got a confirmation on the last name. I got y'all. But legally, it is a hyphenated last name. Because articles use her maiden name, and whereas, like, she herself uses her married name. It's an interesting one. If you're new to TikTok, don't get yourself involved with these people. Blow up, glow up, grow up, and then go after them if you're really about the anti-doxing stuff. Get your followers up first. That's my first piece of advice. Another really good piece of advice is just don't use TikTok, because these people are trying to come to YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter with their doxing. They don't realize all those social media apps already had problems. Like, for instance, all those fools have Reddit accounts, and you see them looking around for hackers to help them find these people, and it's hilarious. What's sad about it is even Reddit knew who these people were and weren't about to help them. There's dox bins full of information on these people, and I'm not saying that to be ugly. I'm saying that it's because they're micro celebrities. That information is on those sites, and then people took that information, added to it, and put it out on other sites. Now, I let them all know they on DB and KW. I let them know, so that way they could do something, because everyone has a right to be safe. Even people I don't like have a right to be safe. Throwing that out there. But so that's where my story began with TikTok, was I got an account up to 14K calling out doxers and harassers and people whose audience sucked people. Now, I was hard on those stalkers, and those people got the mouth. The mouth I hold back on YouTube, Rumble, Clapper, they got the whole 9 yards. The issue that I ran into, and the only issue I ran into, to be fully fair, the only issue was that the system protects those people. The automated algorithm, the AI algorithm, protects these doxers, stalkers, harassers. Because of that, I decided to make noise on all my social media. So in TikTok, where these people have their power, they just started calling me things like skin suit or whatever. And to be fair, if you think I'm gonna kill you, skin you, wear you as a suit, that has a lot of racial bias to it. If they, I mean, and I know that's not what they claim they meant, but you're talking about a black man with no priors, no charges, and that's what you go with. At least if I had a violence charge, that accusation might make sense, but I have no charges, no priors. I'm actually, again, a straight shooter. So, sorry for everybody who's been failing to dox me and making up stuff and posting my old address that you got. So, this is going on YouTube and Rumble that you got off. If you're on YouTube, you got it off my YouTube. I'm so sorry that y'all think that everything you see online is where everybody is at right now. That's just not the situation. But what I did was that with our exorcist, me and her got into it. I called her out for Black Lives Matter in her bio. She removed it when I called her out for it because she was challenging a black man who she didn't know at all. And one thing she challenged me about was my race. I'm not black in her eyes because I don't agree with her. And two, I can't have scoliosis again because I don't agree with her. Now, this is just the first part of my story on TikTok. We'll get into the others, but when it came to our exorcist, I made videos, and when I would make a video, I'd tag her. I understood what people were saying, like, always tag them, let them know, let them know. Okay, we got that. We can tag them in. We can let them know what's good. So I'll always be tagging them. That was me. Now when I make videos, I make them on the sneak, and then when they get to 50,000, they start getting reported, and I'm all, real good that you reported it after the video started blowing up. Real good. But I genuinely, with TikTok, have lost all faith in the platform ever improving, ever changing, ever being better. What I do think will happen is it will continue to progress as it is until it's shut down, or until, so one thing that our government could do to help with that app, complete denial of service that app across all cellular devices, across all computers, completely deny service to that app. I wouldn't be mad. I personally would not be mad about that. I think we need to get back to normal political, social, healthy discourses. This cannot be had through TikTok. TikTok will only accept extreme leftism. So another thing with TikTok is they accept extremism. I'm not extreme in any regard. I am very much right-leaning and super right-leaning. Like, I'm a hardcore Republican, but that's because I'm hardcore into morals and ethics. Yeah, I'm going to just repeat that. I'm a hardcore Republican because I'm hardcore into morals and ethics. So for me, when we're talking about certain issues, trans issues with kids, it's a moral ethics issue, not for me just like what the kid's feeling. Like, people put feelings above morals and ethics. That's why we're in the mess we're in as a society. I'm not saying you got to become a Republican, value morals and ethics, and that's the only way we move forward. No. I'm saying that by not valuing morals and ethics on both sides, this is how we got to the political discourse we are in the middle of right now as a society. And unfortunately, until people do develop morals and ethics, things will not change. Things will stay the same. This is part 1 of my story on TikTok. So again, this is going to be a Rumble and YouTube exclusive. I'm sorry for that. I love y'all. Y'all have the day you deserve. I hope y'all good people. Y'all have a great day.